white cloth and a chair. First, stamp your right foot on the ground, then switch to your left foot. Then, he unexpectedly floated up. The man opposite was left speechless, but he couldn't spot any flaws. He aimed to buy the magic with a lot of cash, but the magician refused to sell at all because he wanted to pass down his skills all to his grandson. After that, he picked up the chair, ready to leave. The tipsy magician chose to perform again, but he hardly had the cloth in place. The man turned off the music. Then, he saw blood staining the cloth. The man quickly grabbed the chair to take a look. To his surprise, the magician stood up. The man casually picked up a rope, then he tightly wrapped it around his neck. But he forgot the other was a magician. The stumbling magician fell to the ground. The man simply grabbed his shoulder and shoved him into the guillotine. However, this was just a prop. It can't really cut off a head. But the crazed man climbed onto the blade. Then he mustered all his strength to brutally decapitate the magician. Poor magician lost his life over a drink. A greedy man stole his notes. After 9 years, a floating magician went viral. He's David, the one who killed the magician. A young journalist came seeking him that day. However, after some brief pleasantries, David asked him to return the ring. The reporter was shocked. He pulled out David's ring from his pocket. He just took 3 seconds to see through the journalist's trick. First, he flaunted a trophy. Then he snatched the ring. Such Mysterious was too clumsy in his eyes. Then David performed expertly, showing the journalist what true Mysterious was. The inspired reporter grabbed paper and pen. He asked the man for a number set. Then he tore it and held it, trying to use the number trick to regain David's approval. He sliced a banana in David's hand with a razor, proving the knife was extremely sharp. Next, he held David's hand, as if sensing something strange. Then he took out the razor again and cut his own hand. With blood spilling onto the notebook, a number set emerged on the paper. David unfolds the note he just received. It's just like the one above. The reporter grins with pride, but to David, it has gaping flaws. This pen was installed with a tracking chip. It can send movement data to a phone. So when you were just reading the text, you already knew that set of numbers. While it turned to grab a banana, you wrote the numbers on paper with a candle, then you used the razor to slice the banana. Then, you held my hand to mislead me and quietly swapped it for a bloody fake knife. After speaking, David revealed the reporter's code. Sure enough, he found the real razor. Despite the many flaws in the performance, as a newcomer, it's still commendable. The reporter shared his interest in magic. It came from his magician grandfather, but sadly, he disappeared 10 years ago. David consoled, saying the dead can't come back, but the reporter shot back right away. How do you know my grandpa is dead? David's heart sank hearing this. He rushed to find a way to end the interview, and he prepared to give him a signed book. However, while David reached for the book, the reporter dashed to the safe. Then he entered that set of numbers, but the safe remained unmoving. You don't really think those numbers are the safe's code, do you? The journalist didn't hold back. He asked David, naming his grandpa, if he had killed him. Seeing David's strong denial, the journalist urged him to open the safe. He believed his grandfather's notes were inside. No. If you read this book, you'd know I changed the code weekly. Even my wife doesn't know. Angry, the journalist fired back, threatening to come back with a police warrant and see what you have to say then. After the journalist left, guilty David turned off the cameras and deleted today's video. Subsequently, he opened the safe and took out the old magician's notes, then set them ablaze. Thinking this would erase all evidence, little did he know it was the journalist's trap. The next morning, the police came to inquire, but they weren't there to search for the notes. They were there to inform David that his wife had been murdered last night. The police asked where he was last night. David said he was here all night, with video proof to support it, but he suddenly recalled the cameras were off last night. David's odd behavior raised the detective's suspicions. After a thorough search, his gaze was drawn to the safe. He then asked David to open it. However, while inputting the password, the ring on his finger opened his eyes. During the day, when he exposed the first trick, the ring was switched by the reporter. It was also equipped with a tracking chip. Last night, when he opened the safe, the journalist saw the password on his phone. When he exposed the journalist's second trick, the razor left behind fingerprints. The journalist initially used it to kill David's wife. Then he snuck into the room when no one was around, placed the bloody razor in the safe. The moment of opening the safe, David was totally shattered. He got arrested for killing his wife. He would face the full penalty of the law. This led arrogant David to catch it, but each of his steps